let's talk about last time you were here, just a few weeks ago. We talked about our good friend. You know him way more than I do, Tim Harper.
I figured that's where you were going with this.
Yeah.
You said good friend. Yes, Mr. Harper.
Yeah. Have you got any news? Have you talked to him since we've talked?
I have had a couple opportunities to talk to him. We haven't really spoken at length or in depth about anything.
Yeah. Now, you're not going to share anything with us that Tim Harper expressly said to say, because that would violate his agreement with his bail terms, right?
Quite possibly. I'm not sure if that would, but we're going to play it safe. We don't want Tim to get in any trouble.
So you can give us your best sense of things, not speaking for Tim.
Right.
Okay. So where are we at?
Well, he's had a number of court appearances at this point. His next appearance is early March.
Okay.
I don't have the exact date off the top of my head, but you can bring that up if you do an OSCN search on Mr. Harper.
Sure.
Which it'll be the entry that also lists all of the bail requirements or restrictions placed upon him. And he seems to think that his legal representation feels positive as they move forward. I don't know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
But they have been reaching out for, again, people that know Tim and support him to write letters into his legal representation to the law firm, sending words of support, why they think he's a good person, talk about his character.
Okay.
So
the criteria on that is you got to know him.
Right.
And I can't think of a more high-profile person who's yet personally worked with him than yourself. I mean, at least from what we've seen, the two of you were probably two of the most courageous conservatives in Oklahoma when you went down to Lawton last summer.
Right, and again, we were not working in conjunction at that event, but of course.
But was it not comforting to have each other there?
It was. It was nice to see some a friendlier face than most that were there.
And he was packing heat. That helped.
Oh, absolutely. He was openly packing
heat.
Not my style.
But probably the least confrontational or intimidating person you meet. He's about as docile as it comes.
He's a big teddy bear.
Well, you can speak softly when you're carrying a big gun.
That's true, and he's shown that if you carry a big enough gun, there's probably some places you shouldn't carry it still.
Yes. Okay, that segues right into it. Now, the arrest is on a law that I have to say I did not know of. I mean, every Oklahoman is supposed to know the entire statutory code of Oklahoma because our civics teachers in high school said ignorance of the law is
no excuse.
No excuse. Right. And so we'll say, okay, fair enough. But what about an ambiguous law with no case history to define an ambiguous term in it? Would that not be the case here?
I would say yes, to a certain degree. Unfortunately, it's not as if anyone has previously been arrested for this.
Okay, let's get people up to speed. He goes into a restaurant that also is a liquor establishment, and he's carrying a rifle.
Yes.
Now, he's not holding it at the ready. It's just slung over his shoulder and just kind of down, pointing down.
Right.
In a not considered a threatening or brandishing way.
Right. It is not in his hands. It is carried with a sling, as is required by the law.
Right. Now, when you're in a crowded place...
And he even had it strapped very tightly to his body to prevent anyone else from gaining control of it or taking it from him.
Now, you spend enough time in multiple military branches to know when you're in a crowded place, you don't want that gun behind your back when there's people walking behind you, right?
Especially if you don't know who they are.
Exactly.
If you're not comfortable with them and there's any possibility that someone might want to relieve you of that weapon, you're going to want to have some retention.
So there's one thing to be on base or in your barracks with your comrades, at arms, but when you're out mixing in public, Tim was keeping it in a place where he was in control of it.
Right, and that's how he had basically worn it all day that day. Throughout, other adventures, particularly Harper Park in Edmond, walking around downtown Edmond that day.
Okay, now was that not the same day that the two of you were in Jason Lowe's district and going to church together?
Well, that's where he went.
Okay. You stayed on the sidewalk.
You know, he strode with a purpose. He did not know where he was going, but he saw something shiny and took off after it.
Well, you know, we're all pilgrims being led by God, aren't we?
Yes. And he's able to move a lot faster than this disabled vet right here.
Okay.
But
All right.
but yes, the two of us were in a variety of places, you know, both that day and the day before.
Okay. Last time you were here, we talked about, and by the way, this is David Van with Sooner Politics. We're doing a Central Oklahoma update with our good friend correspondent Adrian Otap of E Pluribus Otap.
Out of many me, I am America, and you can be too.
That's right. And they can find you on Facebook. That's one of the ways. And then you also have a blog, but I think they're connected.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and he's also now a correspondent on SoonerPolitics.org, so you'll be able to find him in his RSS feed there. But we're going back to Tim. You said Tim could really use some encouragement last time you were here.
Right. He's, you know, as we mentioned, he basically lost his job because of this.
Sure.
You know,
he's on an indefinite suspension.
Right, indefinite suspension from you know, working as a civilian at Tinker Air Force Base.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's that issue.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone is doing any sort of fundraising or GoFundMe or anything to help with any living expenses he might have, because his legal expenses are becoming significant.
Yeah.
As this drags on and on, it's just going to be never ending. And
but Tim's, I'm from indicators I'm hearing, at least emotionally, morally, he doesn't feel probably quite as alone. You're starting to see him get out and about in the community.
Right. He's getting out and about. He's finding things to do with himself. He's focusing on his ham radio efforts and outdoors survivalism type things.
Well, that's good for the mental health in itself.
Oh, absolutely. And he's looking at repurposing his YouTube channel, which used to be all about his Second Amendment and, to a lesser extent, First Amendment audits, to more of the outdoors and survivalist type material.
Let's plug it. It's News Now OKC, right?
Right. Until he rebrands or renames it, that's what it is.
Right. But anyway, so you can look there to get.